ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धस्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्तिर्नस्ताक्षुररिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम. May we hear with our ears what is auspicious. May we see with our eyes what is auspicious. While praying with steady limbs, may we attain the lifespan allotted to us. May Indra bestow well-being on us. May Pushan, the god of the earth, who is all-knowing, bestow well-being on us. May Garuda, the destroyer of evil, bestow well-being on us. May Brihaspati also bestow well-being on us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So in the last class, we were studying the 8th, 9th, and the 10th mantras of the second chapter of first part of Mundaka Upanisad, which deals with the happiness in the lower heaven abodes, which are attained through the fire sacrifices and philanthropic works. That philanthropic works, of course, is associated with desires. The same philanthropic works, when it is done without any desire, it helps in Chitta Shuddhi and helps in attaining the Brahma Jnana. But when the same philanthropic activities is done with the desires, it, along with the fire sacrifices, results in the attainment of happiness in the lower heavens. We find that the various strata of heaven has been described in the Vedas. But the highest heaven has been indicated as the Brahmaloka. Now, how to attain the Brahmaloka, which is the highest that can be attained by any type of sacrifices, any type of contemplation, upasana. By some sort of upasana, we can attain that Brahmaloka. That's the highest plane which is attainable. And how to attain that Brahmaloka, or the realm of Hiranyagarbha, that will be described in the 11th mantra. So, how to attain the highest heaven? So let us read the mantra and then we will go to the discussion. The 11th mantra of the second chapter of the first part of Mundaka Upanishad. Tapasraddhe ye hi upavasanti aranye shanta vidwangso bhikshacharya charantah surya dwarena te viraja prayanti yatra amritah sah purusho hi avyayatma. So, the wise men of tranquil minds, as has been indicated by the phrase Shanta Vidwangsa. Vidwan is a wise man, but that wisdom is not merely the result of academic knowledge. That wisdom has already been internalized as a total overhauling of his personality, so that he has become very calm, tranquil. So he's a person of tranquil mind. Reading the scriptures, he has internalized them. It was not just meant for his intellectual satisfaction. Those values has been internalized so as if to overhaul his personality. And he has been his transformed being. He doesn't lose his equipoise in any situation of life. So he's Shanta. So Shanta Vidwangsa. So what he does, he lives in the forest on alms. Upavasanti aranye bhikshacharya charantaha. So Upavasanti aranye. He most probably he was a householder who, after the household, his completion of his household duties, the Vedic society gave the prescription that it was permitted that once the responsibilities of the grihastha is over, the children have grown up, they are now the responsible beings of the society. The parents do have the right to retire. The society is not supposed to expect anything from them, neither do they expect anything from the society. Now they go for the cultivation of the higher values of life, to try to find out the meaning of life, the purpose of life. All the worldly accomplishments has been all accomplished. So now he goes to that phase of life. For that retirement is the thing which was prescribed. In the forests, there used to be the ashramas, where they resorted to those this forest ashramas, relinquishing their hearth and home, and start that new phase of journey in their life. The process that phase is known as the Vanaprastha, leading to Sannyasa. It is this phase of life which has been spoken of here. That who live in the forest on alms, upavasanti aranye bhikshacharya charantaha. So we find very interesting thing. The society was structured in such a way, the grihastha was the nodal point. He was the earning member. He used to sustain the other three ashramas. The brahmacharya, the young ones who are students, they are sustained by the grihastha, as well as the vanaprasthis and the sannyasis. So he was the nodal point who is to sustain all the three ashramas. So that's why the practice of bhiksha was there. That if I am to keep myself free from all the worldly endeavors, then how to sustain myself? The society was structured in such a way that the householder was responsible for sustaining the other three ashramas, so that they can be free enough for the higher pursuits of life. So it's a wonderful structure. So upavasanti aranye bhikshacharya charanta. So they lived on the forest on alms. And what they used to do there, it's not a very just the retirement life with all the amenities and facilities of the present day. We do have retirement village, and we may say that we are vanaprasthis in the retirement village, but in no way reflects the real vanaprasthis, because in the present day, the old age home, we have all the amenities of the modern life. Though you are maybe away from your family in those retirement village, still you are connected with the internet, TV, and all those things are there, which in no way speaks of the detached life. So here it has been spoken of, that they have detached. Not only that, now they lead a life of tapas, austerity, practicing austerities. And tapa and shraddha, these two should go hand in hand. Austerity speaks of detachment. But in this life, we will find there are some depressed, psychologically depressed person who as if seems to be not interested in anything. Do that entail spiritual evolution? No. So this detachment, this apparent detachment from all the amenities of life, should be associated with Shraddha. That Shraddha speaks of the faith in the scriptures, faith in the words of Guru, which entails the faith of the dimension of the spiritual dimension of existence, faith in that. So you have faith. You have start contemplating on the deities like Hiranyagarbha, the Ishvara, the God, who speaks of that spiritual dimension of our existence. So tapa and Shraddha, this should go hand in hand. So they retire to the forest, lead a life of tapas and a life of Shraddha, which speaks of devotion, contemplation, detachment, and contemplation. So such wise men of tranquil minds who live in the forest on alms and practice austerities and contemplation, when they die, depart, they being freed from all the impurities because of tapa and Shraddha. That the word viraja in the sloka, the viraja, speaks of getting rid of all the impurities. Their psyche is cleansed. The psychophysical existence is cleansed by tapa and Shraddha. And when they die, as they have cleansed themselves, then they are carried by the path of the sun, means through illumination, the path of Surya Dwarena, to the place where that immortal person, in all the dualistic religion, the idea of God, heaven, where God dwells. So the same idea we find in the idea of Brahmaloka, that immortal person, Avyayatma. Avyaya means that which never perishes. The one who is immortal, the one who is dwelling in that loka. So you are transported to that loka by the path of illumination and by being freed of all the impurities. So this is the highest goal which one can attain through upasana. Previously, they spoke of sacrifices and philanthropic activities. Now, this is another mode of life, way of life, where it's not those elaborate sacrifices. I have relinquished them. They were meant for the grihastha. I have now more contemplative. That's sacrifices do help in contemplation. Those who do ritualistic worship, they will understand. How? Then if I have done ritualistic worship for years together, then a time comes when I am not doing the ritualistic worship. Just by thinking of the entire process of the ritualistic worship, just by contemplating on it, you immediately feel uplifted. The same upliftment which you used to feel while doing the thing, now you have developed that sanskara. Just by visualizing it, you feel very uplifted, spiritually uplifted. That speaks of the upasana. So I have already done those ritualistic worship for long. They have developed, it has been developed into sanskara, and I can easily visualize them. And just by visualizing, I get the result. When we were in India, we were in Belur Math, taking part in all the activities there, busy with the life there. Now, when we are away from it, just by seeing the pictures of Belur Math, or just by contemplating on the life which we have spent in Belur Math, gives us a feeling of upliftment. The same thing, for the same reason, we go to the pilgrimage. We go to the pilgrimage and spend few days in that holy atmosphere. And that's the thing which goes deep into our psyche and remains there as sanskara. Much later, even in older age, just the remembrance of that can bring a tremendous transformation in your mind. It can make your mind tranquil. It can give you a sense of fulfillment. So that's the same idea behind this upasana. That grihastha, as a grihastha, I did all those elaborate rituals and worships. Now, as a vanaprasthi, I just think of them, contemplate on them, And that leads me to a deep contemplation. And that contemplation is associated with tapa. I try to disassociate myself from all the entanglements of life. So this will result in attainment of the Brahmaloka. So the word Vidwangsa here means the wise man. It refers to the worshipper of the Saguna Brahma, the Hiranya Garbha, the concept of Ishvara. It is the Saguna Brahma. The pious householders, and those who have retired from the world, the Vanaprasthis, as well as the monks who contemplates of the Saguna Brahma, for them, this is the highest goal which is being mentioned. There are monks who contemplate on the Nirguna aspect of Brahman, who constantly contemplate on the essence of their being, the Atman, which is one with Brahman. Those sannyasins are not spoken of here. It is those sannyasins, or the Vanaprasthins, who are the worshippers of the Saguna Brahma. For them, this is the path which is being described here, which is led to the Brahmaloka. Shanta, the word Shanta, as we told, it speaks of the tranquil minds, which is the result of Shama and Dama. The control of the mind followed by the control of the senses. So it is not that we forcefully withdraw our senses from the objects. First, we have to convince our mind that this is something which is beneficial for my spiritual journey. The constant inordinate attachment to the pleasures of life distracts my mind, makes me obsessed, that doesn't allow me to focus on the object of my meditation. So I have to relinquish them by will, not because someone is saying, or not because I will be criticized for certain action, but willfully to lead a better life, to bet the life which entails in spiritual evolution. So first I have convinced my mind, that is Shama. Then the Dhamma, the control of the sense organs follows. So without this, no deep spiritual experience is possible without this inner serenity, which comes through the practice of Shama and Dhamma. And that is being indicated by the word Shanta, those who are of tranquil minds. They have attained that tranquility by the practice of the control of the mind and the control of the senses, Shama and Dhamma. Tapa speaks of austerities. Austerities do play a great role in tranquilizing the mind. How it plays a great role? That austerity speaks of willfully relinquishing the things which is constantly engaging me with the sense objects. Just to give an example, fasting is an austerity. How it helps? Now, if I think of meditating throughout the day, just say that today is a special day, I will meditate. I won't allow any distractions to come in. From the morning I meditate, I spend some good time in reading, again I meditate, maybe sing some bhajans, do some chanting, meditate. But then I will find by the noontime, I'm terribly hungry. And once I take the food, my body will be lethargic. Now another 3-4 hours is gone. So that my intention, my resolution to spend the entire day in deep contemplation gets interrupted the moment I take the food and I go to the lethargy. So how to extend my period of sadhana? How can I extend? By tapas. Let me take a resolution that on certain days, say Ekadashi, I will fast throughout the day. At the beginning, that hunger is going to torment me. It won't allow me to keep my mind tranquil. That hunger, the pangs of hunger, how can you meditate with the pangs of hunger? But we have to perseveringly practice that fasting for consecutive few Ekadashis. And then we will find a wonderful things happening. What's that? That you don't feel the pangs of hunger on the hours when you are supposed to have it. maybe at the lunchtime or something. What has happened? That it is a feedback mechanism. This hunger is actually a biological alarm system. Hunger, thirst, that when the body needs food in the form of the pangs of hunger, it gives an alarm, take food. So when I ignore that alarm, the alarm system in the body gets reprogrammed. That if the alarm is there, I am not yielding to the alarm system gets reprogrammed. So what happens that even that it's the time for your food, but as you have already practiced, that feedback mechanism system now won't make you feel hungry. And that's how you can still prolong your practices. So now you will understand why tapa is necessary for the tranquility of the mind. To have a qualitative spiritual endeavor, engagement, involvement, absorption for prolonged time, austerity do play a great role in our spiritual journey. At the beginning, it will be tormenting, but the same thing when becomes a part of our feedback mechanism, so that the total biological alarm system, the biological clock has changed. Now you will find the so-called bodily feelings are not disturbing you anymore for the time being. You can prolong. So that's how it helps in keeping your mind tranquil for longer and longer periods. Once you have done that, along with tapa comes shraddha, contemplation. So tapa takes care of our immediate inordinate desires, and shraddha takes care of it's a long-term effect in building up the tranquility of the mind. To be shanta, tapa is the short term. Immediately, the pangs of hunger is disturbing me. With the austerity, I can get rid of it. But there is not only one inordinate attachment. There are thousands of inordinate attachments. Today, it is the hunger which is disturbing me. Tomorrow, some other attachments will be disturbing me. How to get rid of all of them? So the immediate things which are disturbing me, I get rid of them by tapas, and all other which are still hidden. Maybe it's not manifested now. If it gets favorable circumstances, so many other desires may manifest and disturb my mind. For that, I have to practice shraddha, the contemplation. How it helps? As we told that when we are practicing contemplation, I'm trying to keep my focus in one thought. What happens? At the beginning, my mind is not habituated in doing that. I have to go on doing it repeatedly. The same practice every day, the same mantra, the same visualization. Every day I'm doing. How it helps? We have discussed so many times that the mind is playing the trick with us. How? That whatever we do today out of necessity, when we go on doing it out of necessity again and again, it becomes a habit. Once it becomes a habit, it as if creates a path in your mind. And once the path is created, the mind has a tendency to traverse that path even without the necessity. It just develops an inordinate liking to traverse that path. That gives it happiness. That's how we got bound with innumerable desires. All of them were necessities. But by resorting to them again and again, lives together, we were doing that. They have that, because of neuroplasticity, they have created a path in our mind. And now there is no need for the necessity. Just to traverse that has become our obsession. So it has got converted into as if like OCD in the present day psychological language, obsessive compulsive disorder. We go on doing the same thing again and again without any purpose. And that's why in the gospel we find Sri Ramakrishna is saying, Kamini Kanchan Maya. Kamini Kanchan is the Maya, the dollar king and the sex queen. That's what one of our Swami is to translate. Swami Asheshananda, the disciple of Swami Sharadananda. He was very revered Swami. So that's how he used to translate. So that's the thing which is ruling the world. But we find that both are the things which are necessity. But what has happened from bacteria till the human being, all have done it repeatedly out of necessity, and that has got converted into inordinate attachment. So that's how the mind takes us spirally downwards. That's the way of the mind. Now, how to use this limitation how can we make this negativity convert it into something positive? We can do it by resorting to the practice of contemplation on a particular deity, say the Hiranyagarbha or Ishvara. When I'm doing it repeatedly, this repeated attempt, though I may not be successful at the beginning, but this repeated attempt is creating a path in my mind. As a result of what will happen, once the path is created, a liking will develop. Today's resolution will get converted into tomorrow's devotion. You won't need resolution anymore. You won't have to use your willpower anymore. That will has got converted into devotion. And once it has got converted into devotion, what will happen? You like doing it. But once you develop the liking for this particular type of contemplation, now it will have a marvelous effect. Why? Because this repetitive action is qualitatively different from all other obsessions. All the obsessions which I have developed through the various lives, they were all dependent on something external. Maybe it is wealth, maybe it is relation, maybe it is position in life, maybe it's power, whatever it is something external to me. As a result, all those endeavors were associated with worries. Why? That till I don't get them, till I don't achieve the thing I want, I had that anxiety. I may not get it. Once I get it, again that anxiety is there. I may lose it. Whether it is relation, whether it is wealth, whether it is position and power in life. But this new liking, the contemplation, it is something which is intrinsic. It doesn't depend on something external. The moment I start contemplating, because of my repeated practice, it has created a path in my mind that neuroplasticity has set in, and I have developed a liking for that. Now, no one can take away from me, whatever may be the situation of life. So as a result, it is qualitatively different from all other attachments. So now what happens? This becomes, as this is something which is not associated with any sort of stress, anxiety, tension, we incline to resort to it more and more. And this acts as the pratipaksha, the contending factor to all other desires. Because if any desire is without any worries and tension, why should I resort to those which are associated with worries, tensions? So this is the path which I traverse again and again. So now you will understand how Shraddha helps in developing the tranquility in the long term. Tapa as a short-term goal and Shraddha is a long-term goal. So these two together will help us to develop the tranquility in the long run. Nothing can disturb. Immediately the things which is disturbing me, through tapas, through austerity, I try to get rid of them. And there are so many other things which is not immediately disturbing me. But if the situation of life changes, they will manifest and they will start disturbing me. So I have to develop this contemplation and a liking for that, which won't allow the other desires, even if they have the fertile ground, to sprout. Because this liking is something which contends them, qualitatively totally different. Why should I resort to something which will result in worries and tension and anxieties? So tapa, shraddha together helps me to develop that shan, that tranquility, the Shanta nature. And when you have developed this tranquility, then what happens? As you are not resorting to the old ways of life, the old mental modules in no way can disturb you anymore. So they start falling off. Just the way that the examples which we give again and again. If you are feeding the birds every day in the morning, they come every day. If you stop, these birds are like the mental modules. They won't stop immediately. For a few days, they will go on coming with the expectation that you may again give them the grains. But if you persist, if you don't yield to their demand, after a few days, they will get the feedback that there is no use in going and pestering him, that person. He is not going to yield anymore. They will stop coming. This speaks of getting freed of the impurities. Once your mind is tranquil, gradually the impurities will start falling off. Viraja. The past samskaras are consumed by this tapa and sraddha. So this speaks of the purity of mind. When you have attained this purity, what has happened now? Now I've entered into a state of flow. In deep contemplation, you forget everything. You experience a state of videha, though in the body, as if you're beyond the body. All the bodily feelings are not disturbing you anymore. So what happens? After death, it is all these bodily feelings, all those biological clocks and alarms that gravitates us down again to this physical plane of existence. But as I have entered into the flow through the process of purification, and I can remain absorbed in contemplation without yielding to the bodily feelings, after death, nothing is there to gravitate me down. That state of flow takes me to the higher and higher realm, at last leading me to the Brahmaloka, where I can continue with my contemplation till the end of the present kalpa. So as been indicating that you go to the loka, which is where the Amrita Purusha resides. Amrita Purusha, the one, the immortal being. So we have to remember that this immortality which has been spoken of here is relative. That with the present cycle, when that absolute reality finds expression as the collective mind, as the Ishvara, that Ishvara continues till the projection, till this creation is projected. With the dissolution of the creation, the Ishvara also, along with the creation, merges in the absolute. So here, Amrita Purusha means the relative immortality of Ishvara, of Hiranyagarbha, of Brahma, till the present cycle is complete. So when you go to that loka, you enjoy that bliss of contemplation till the end of this kalpa, where the universe is dissolved. Then along with Ishvara, and in the Brahmaloka, you get merged in the absolute, never to come back again in the next cycle. That leads to the ultimate liberation. So this is the process of krama mukti, gradual liberation. The one who has realized the self is immediately liberated. The moment you have in this life, it is possible by constantly contemplating on yourself, by constantly thinking that you are the self, you're not the body, not the mind, not the senses, you're the Atman. With this type of contemplation can lead to the realization, which will lead to the immediate liberation. Means when the body falls off, as long as you are alive, you will enjoy the state of Jivan Mukti, and when you die, immediately you are liberated. But the others who are contemplating on Ishvara, they also will be liberated at the end of the cycle. Till the end of the cycle, they will enjoy the bliss of contemplation in Brahmaloka. As there is no bodily feelings, are no more disturbing him, Says, though there is no need for him to gravitate down again to this physical plane of existence. So thus, this mantra describes the process of Krama Mukti. So apart from Saguna Brahma Upasaka, even the Nirguna Brahma Upasaka, the one who is contemplating on the self, they also can attain the Brahmaloka if they have not attained the realization. By contemplating on the Atman, that I am the self, you have entered into a state of bliss where still you exist with your mind to enjoy the bliss. This is the thing we have to understand. By repeating that I am Atman, I am Brahman, and this repetition gives me a sense of bliss. There's something which we should remember. Who is saying I am Atman? This is still the mind. You have not gone beyond the mind. So it is also a type of contemplation which has not resulted in the ultimate realization. So it's not that only the Saguna Brahma Upasaka grows to the Brahmaloka. Even the so-called Jnani, the Nirguna Brahma Upasaka, for him also, it may lead to Brahmaloka if his contemplation has resulted in bliss, but not in the ultimate realization, where the ego has to fall off totally to merge him in that absolute. That hasn't happened. He's still kept that ego to enjoy the bliss of contemplation, maybe it on Ishvara or maybe it on the idea that you are the Brahma. You're one with the Brahma, whatever it may be. As long as the bliss, we are attached to the bliss, it will lead to that highest loka. But we need not come back from there, as that bliss is something so engrossing that it has enabled me to enter into such a intense flow that the bodily feelings are not there to disturb me anymore. All the inordinate attachments, they've fallen off because of this deep contemplation. So it is all this bodily needs, like need to take food, need to procreate, that brings us down. As they are no more that disturb them, they are no more there because of the deep contemplation. They remain in that loka, enjoying the bliss till the end of the cycle. So this is the highest loka, is the highest attainment that is possible in this relative world. So now, after stating that, in the 12th mantra, now the real Upanishad starts. After thoroughly just giving an overview of all the paths which can be attained through Apara Vidya. Aparam is the lower knowledge. You will, as you may recapitulate, the Upanishad started with that, where the Guru is instructing the Shishya in two types of knowledge, Apara Vidya and Paravidya, lower and the higher knowledge. So till now, what has been described in short was the Aparavidya. Now from the 12th mantra, the Paravidya, the disciplines which will result in getting established in that Paravidya is being described from the 12th mantra. So the discipline of those blessed aspirants who turn away from all relative existence, which is characterized by action and its result. So in this world, that's what we constantly, what is this? We are bound in the cycle of avidya kama karma. Because of ignorance, I have forgotten my real nature. I think though I am fulfilled, I think I am unfulfilled. I need something for fulfillment, and that is entailing in all the actions. Desires results in actions, actions results in results, and actions results in karma. So this cycle goes on for life together. Avidya, kama, karma. So unless that we have turned away from the relative world, which is characterized by this cycle of avidya, kama, karma, there cannot be the attainment of that highest realization in which I get merged with the absolute reality. So the 12th mantra will speak of the disciplines which can lead us to that ultimate journey So what's that sloka? Now let us go to that mantra, the 12th mantra of the second chapter of the first part of Mundaka Upanishad. Parikshya lokan karma chitan brahmano nirvedam ayat na asti akrita kritena tat vigyanartham sagurum eva abhigachet samit pani srotriyam brahmanishtam. So parikshya lokan karma chitan brahmano. So let the brahmana. So here we should not mistake the word Brahmin as a caste. The one who contemplates on Brahma is a Brahmin. The one who is born in a Brahmin family and is engaged in worldly activities is not a Brahmin. The real Brahmin is one who is contemplating on Brahma. The word Brahmin has been derived from that. The one who contemplates on Brahma is a Brahmana. So such a Brahmana who has examined Parikshya Lokan Karma Chitan. He has examined all the worlds that can be attained through karma. Parikshya Lokan. Pariksha means to examine. Lokan, all the worlds, as has been described till the 11th mantra. He has examined them, which can be attained through karma. Now, he has developed detachment, that it cannot give me that ultimate liberation. So, by examining that detachment has developed, so that is being indicated by the word free, that nirvedam. Nirvedam means he's free from desires. Ayat, he has acquired that freedom from desires by thoroughly investigating all the attainments that is possible through karma. He has developed that total freedom from the desires, nirvedam ayat. But why he has developed? Because he have realized na asti akrita kritena, that which is beyond all actions, akrita. It exists by its own right. In this life, that why we do action? Because of 4 types of results, as has been described nicely by Shankaracharya, that all our actions results in 4 types of results. What are they? Utpadya, you create something. As in the case of a potter making a pot, he creates the pot. Or it may be apya, attainment. It may be utpadya, creation, or apya, attainment. Like you want to go to certain place. So this reaching the destination, that's the attainment. That speaks of apya. The actions can lead me to attain the destination. It can help me to create something. Vikarya, transformation. Just the way the curd gets transformed into milk. So this transformation, so many transformations, so many types of transformations can happen through actions, vikarya, and purification, sangskarya, like the smelting of gold. These are the examples which Shankaracharya resorts to. Keeping in mind the old days, these are the examples. But even you will find these are the 4 things which defines our work even today. Either we want to create something, or we want to attain something, or we want some transformation, renovation, or we want to purify. So that's why these actions are required. But why Brahman is akrita? Because it's eternal. The thing which is eternal cannot be created. It was, it is, it will be. So the question of creation is not applicable to Brahman. Apya, attainment. When you are going from one place to another, that speaks of attainment. But the thing which is omnipresent, which is non-local, which has no locality, which is everywhere. Where is the question of this going to a destination by some action? So again, Brahman is akrita as far its apya aspect is concerned, as per the attainment is concerned. This again, Brahman is avikarya. You cannot transform. It is as it is. It is in the eternal present. All the six transformations, jayate, asti, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, nasti, that anything which exists is born at certain point of time. It is jayate, asti, it exists for certain time amount of time. For the time being, it appears to grow, vardhate. Then transformation starts, viparinamate. And then the decay process starts, apakshiyate. And then the death comes, annihilation comes, nasti. But for Brahman, there's no transformation. He's in the eternal present, that non-local, non-dual consciousness, that eternal present without any transformation. So through action, the question of transformation doesn't arise in him. And he's eternal, ever pure. There's no question of sanskara, purification. So that's why how nicely Shankaracharya says that Brahman is akrita. In this world, whatever we attain is through action, because we want to attain something, we want to create something or attain something or transform something or purify something. And that's what results in all the action. And Brahman is beyond that. He's akrita. So these, by pariksha lokan, by examining all the various strata of existence, which all depends on karma, because the karma, through the karma, we can get the thing which we don't have, we can attain. But Brahman is always there. There is no transformation. So how can something which is akrita be attained through action? So that's what is indicated by the word na asti akrita kritena. I cannot attain the thing which is beyond action by action. So how nice the Upanishad, just see, very simple, profound truth spoken in simple language. So once they have realized that, the Vairagya has dawned in. Enough of this world. I want to get established in the way of life that can take me beyond this relative existence. So for that, what they do? Tat Vijnanartham. So in order that may understand that eternal reality, the ultimate reality, Tat Vijnanartham, to know that, to realize that, to get established in that. So what they do? Sagurum eva abhigachet. They used to resort to some guru. Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. They used to resort to the guru how? With some firewood in their hand. In those days, in the ashramas, they used to have these fire sacrifices. So as a service to the guru, to show their humility, they used to carry this firewood. That I want to help you. That firewood is actually is an indication of seva. That in all ways they will be doing service to the guru, so that he is pleased. He doesn't have to take care of the worldly things. We take care, and he takes care of our spiritual needs. So that's the idea behind the Samitpani. It speaks of the humility of the disciple with which he approaches the guru, with his intention to serve the guru. And what's the quality of the guru? The guru must be Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Shrotriya means he must have learned the scripture thoroughly. But again, it is not just mere academic knowledge. That study of the scripture has transformed him, has transformed his personality, so that he has constantly having that nishtha, perseverance in contemplation of the Brahman, Brahma Nishtham, Brahma Nishtha, devoted to Brahman. So he should be well versed in the Vedas and should be devoted in Brahman. That naturally speaks of renunciation of all worldly desires. If you are devoted to something, how can you take care of the other things? When in ordinary life, we find that a person is in love with someone, the entire world becomes immaterial to him. That love is something so all engrossing. So if it happens with a worldly love, how to speak of one who has developed the tremendous devotion for getting established in that absolute reality. So for him, the worldly desires is bound to fall off. So he is well versed in the scriptures, he has relinquished all the desires, and he is engaged in contemplation of the Brahman. Such are the qualities of the Guru. When one finds such a Guru, one should approach him with all humility. So now, this is the idea which is being indicated in this sloka. So this Samit Pani, as we told, it actually speaks of not only the firewood, they used to do all the menial jobs for the Guru, like fetching water, tending the cattle, and rendering him all other forms of this personal service. So through this, he cultivated humility, reverence, and devotion to the Guru. And this abhigachet, going to the Guru, you may say, is Guru really needed? If I have the resort to the scriptures, by reading the scriptures, I have the idea of the scriptures, I can do my spiritual practice by my own. What is the need of Guru? So we should know that a candle can be ignited only by another light. Light enkindles another light. So you need a life to enkindle another life. Just let us take a common example. That if you want to drive the car to a particular destination, you use the GPS. The GPS is like the scripture. But is GPS alone sufficient to take you to the destination? Unless you are skilled in driving. And for getting skilled in driving, even in the present day, as long as you're having the learner's license, when you're a student, you cannot drive alone. There has to be someone with the driver's license sitting beside you. So the GPS alone cannot take you to the destination. You have to learn driving, and for learning driving, you need a Guru. So now, just even for this ordinary, this mundane thing like learning driving, even the world won't have, even the government, even the road rules won't allow you to drive just by reading the manual. Just by reading the manual how to drive, you say, I know the thing and I can start driving. It's not possible. The Guru has to be there to make you aware of all the loopholes, the pitfalls, and to warn you at each and every step where you may be committing mistake. So in spiritual life, that way, Guru is something very essential. As at present we are full of desires, our mind doesn't have that broad outlook. Our mind is already biased by all those desires. It is having a very narrow vision. The Guru has the broad vision. Just when I'm driving for the first time, I now and then forget the rules. Maybe I have learned the driving. I think just to hold the steering and to start the vehicle and go is what has to be learned. But all the thing that when I'm taking the right turn, where I have to see, where I have to look at, when to look at the rear mirror, how to park the car, for every step, I need that one who is already adept in that. Without his guidance, who has the broad vision of the entire process of driving. Without his guidance, at every step, I will be doing mistake. Similarly, in spiritual journey, the Guru is the one who through this tapa and shraddha has been established in the higher realms of a spiritual journey. So his vision is much more broader. He can help me to find out the shortfalls, the pitfalls. We constantly go on justifying ourselves in our life. The Guru can pinpoint that the way you're justifying is not correct. there is some subtle weakness, desire lurking behind your mind, which you don't realize. And you feel you have quite justified in what you're doing. And the Guru is there to help you out, to find out all those subtleties in the spiritual journey, that how the mind is befooling us. So that's why abhigachet, to go to the Guru, is very important. Now, what's the quality of the Guru? That's being indicated here, Shrotriyam and Brahmanishtam. He should be well versed in the scriptures. That is, he himself should know all the rules of the driving. And not only that, Brahmanishtam, he should be always devoted to Brahman. So as per the above example, he should be a skilled driver, to be always devoted to Brahman, to be always contemplating. It's not mere words. You try it, you will find it is impossible. The one who has done that, he has already developed the skills of it. He is not just speaking. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Tablar bol mukhe bola sahoj hate ana kotin. It's very easy to speak to recite the rhythm of tabla, but to bring it in your hand, to bring that rhythm in your hand so that you can play that rhythm, it may need a lot of practice. So to be Shrotriyam may be easy. To learn, to be well versed in the scriptures, that's not important. But to be Brahmanishta, that speaks of the skill which you have already developed. You can always keep your mind engaged in that contemplation. So if you find anyone who is Shrotriyam as well as Brahmanishta, then only you can consider him as your Guru and approach him to be instructed in the knowledge of Brahma Vidya. And the student himself should have the quality of not only humility, he should have also developed the detachment, which has been spoken of by the word that Pariksha Lokan Karma Chita. He have already examined that what all can be attained by actions. He has examined, and from that he have understood that with actions I can never attain the ultimate, and already has developed the detachment. So the Viveka and Vairagya has developed in him, and with humility he approaches the Guru, who is already skillful in that path. Then only the instructions will become fruitful. So there's one more mantra in this section. So we will study, which will continue in describing the discipline to be attained by the Brahma Vidya. So that we will again take the 13th and the last mantra. We will take up again in the next class. With this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskars.